Oh,
Alrighty.
okay. Okay. Hi, everybody. This is a podcast that we're doing. About like we're just gonna talk about shit, mostly Zelda, and we're just gonna sit here and talk like no footage or anything. Just talk about things we like to talk about.
Exactly.
So, so we're just gonna talk about Zelda and how much it's amazing. Oh yeah. This is my friend who. Wait, Leaf Sapphire.
Yeah. Yep.
Leaf Sapphire. And Leaf Sapphire recently played a Zelda game called Majora's Mask 3D. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's pretty fucking amazing.
And it was my first time playing through the game fully. So, I mean, I owned it when I was younger for the N64, but I never got to complete it. And then when they re-released it on the 3DS, I was like, alright, time to give it another go. And I beat it, and it was amazing, and it landed somewhere in my top favorite Zelda games list.
Yeah, thank God. Like before, when when you were little, you didn't like the time mechanic.
I did
I think.
not. No, I was bitter about that, man.
Yeah, and I've always loved the thing. But now you love it, and you just converted to Majora's Maskism.
Exactly. I don't know. It was kind of like a change of mindset. Like, any sort of game mechanic that you don't understand at first, and you just kind of it bothers you because it offers limitations in the game. And then once you understand it, and you're kind of like, yeah, I'm on board with this. I know how this works. I know what to do. You kind of got to play by the game's rules. After you reach that point, you're like, wait, this game is actually really awesome. I love this.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people like a lot of people hate the time mechanic, but I've always argued that it adds a lot to the game. That that's the point of the game. It's supposed to make you feel suspense and
Right.
uneasy feelings.
Right. I mean, not only because it's not enough that you got like a giant moon with a face floating above the entire town that's gonna crash down and kill you, but also it affects you in real life because there is a time limit that once reached you're gonna die. So it's not like, oh, in game you save and turn it off, you're fine. No, once you come back, wherever the time was, it stays there. The only way to stop it is to reset it. So it offers some real life pressure.
Yeah, and it also like adds a lot of grimness to the game because no matter how many problems you solve in the game, it always goes back to being fucked up when you go back in time. Everyone's has shitty problems and they don't get fixed. You just get your material possession. Because Link is such a materialist.
I know, it's like, I don't know, maybe it's an analogy for real life. Like, well, people's problems will come and go, but money and tools are forever, I guess.
At least you have a mask.
Exactly. That's what it all comes down to. It's like, hey, world's
The,
gonna end. I got a mask though, so I'm fine.
the Cafe and Andrew quest. You help reunite a couple who was about to get married. And that's all fine and good, but you just reset their problems just for a mask that gives you one heart piece.
I guess it's worth it in Link's eyes. He's kind of a jerk in this one, but I don't know. I mean, in all.
Well,
Go ahead.
well, when I was a kid, whenever I went to beat the game, I like fixed as many problems as I could before I did that.
Right.
Before I beat the game,
Yeah.
in Majora.
Like, and originally, like, I don't know, before beating the game and when I was younger playing it and all that, that aspect of the game actually bothered me a lot because I was like, what, I'm used to when you do something in a game, you fix someone's problem, you solve a puzzle or whatever. Usually it stays that way, and then in this one, like you said, you rewind time, everything gets undone. It kind of feels like you didn't really do anything, but again, that sort of adds to the overall feeling of like, you can only do so much. It's not, you're not gonna totally be able to solve everything.
Hmm.
So again,
And
sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say that I think Majora's Mask has just like has the deepest feeling out of all the Zelda games, I think, but all the Zelda games have some sort of, I don't know, some sort of atmosphere, message, or whatever to them.
Yeah.
But I think it's just done the best in Majora's Mask, in my opinion.
I think so. If nothing else, like aside from just the uniqueness being that no other game has done that in the Zelda series, but also like the fact that it's such a dark turn, you know, with other Zelda games like you know, Wind Waker has such like a bright, happier feeling of exploration in the open seas, and then you got Majora's Mask, which is like, dark things, super serious grown-up issues, and by the way, everyone's gonna die. You know, it doesn't. Most people, when they think of Zelda, that's not what pops in their head first.
Well, it does to me just because that was my first game of Zelda.
Right.
And, well, I mean, like, that was... Majora's Mask is the only game that's mostly dark, but most of the other Zelda games have dark parts.
Right, here and there, but I mean, like, in terms of the main theme of it, it's sort of that depressing kind of, you know, hopeless feel to it, which is interesting.
Yeah. I think I told you this and you couldn't believe me at first, but the game was made in a single year. Because I think Aonuma was Miyamoto made a bet with Aonuma to make a game, a Zelda game in a year to replace the add-on to Ocarina of Time that was going to be. And that's just like, knowing the end product, that they only had a year was pretty impressive.
Yeah, because like, I mean, when I finished playing it and like, not only did I beat the game, but like, did everything that there is to do in it, I'm like, I cannot believe that this was done in a single year. Like, all of the little details, the side quests, everything that's available to do, it's just like unbelievable.
Yeah, it's like Aonuma spent nights after nights, you know, just researching all this stuff, because the game has a lot more to it than what meets the eye. There's African roots to pretty much everything in the game, and just it's fucking great.
Yeah, I mean, I can believe that. Didn't you say like the Majora's Mask design itself was based off like a tribal mask design, or...
Yeah, all the masks are based off tribal masks in Africa.
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
And Majora herself, if it's a she, is based off a story, an African story. I'll need to show you that culture shock video or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah.
I'll link to it, but it's pretty fucking good.
Link to it. Yeah, that's bad, but I had to throw it out there.
Well, bad jokes are no stranger to my channel, let me tell you.
That's good. That's what I excel in.
Yeah, I was saying. What's your, like... Do you like any of the 2D Zelda games?
Among the ones I've played, I'm trying to think, because let's see. I think I have a little bit fonder memories for Link's Awakening. From what I can remember, that was like one of the earliest Zelda games I played, but I didn't really understand it. It was more around the time I got to Link to the Past that I was sort of a little more into video games. I don't think I ended up beating that one, because I was still kind of too young to, you know, get that far in video games. But I would just play around in it at least, and it was moderately fun. But I don't think I ever like got past the Hyrule Castle in the beginning or anything. So I like. Around the time when I started playing more seriously was, I think Ocarina of Time was the first Zelda game that I beat on my own, and at that point, that was, I think I'd say like the 3D Zelda games are really closer to my heart in terms of like
Yeah,
memories.
I feel like, I mean, even though Zelda was originally made as a 2D game, I feel like Zelda excels best as a 3D adventure game rather than 2D overhead, because like it it has done fantastically in 2D, like Link's Awakening and Link Between Worlds, but it like I don't know, you just get that Zelda feeling that's in Twilight Princess and Ocarina of Time
Right,
that you can't get really in the 2D games.
right. For me personally, even I can get so much more immersed in a 3D game than a 2D game. I mean, not only just because of the atmosphere, but I mean the freedom of movement. There's so much more space to go. It offers so many more opportunities for gameplay, I guess.
Yeah, it's just like real life, I guess. You know, you got
Yeah,
3 dimensions.
right. I don't know. Just in 2D games, I always kind of felt a bit removed from the action, just because it's like it didn't really feel like you're there doing it as much. I guess in a 3D game, you're like you're fully thrust in the world, and everything feels more. I guess.
Detailed.
Yeah, because it's like there's things behind you, in front of you, off the camera that you can't see, but you know it's there. And in a 2D game, you usually pretty much get the full picture in the screen, and you're like, okay, well, I can see that there, whatever. But I don't know. I think worlds tend to feel more immersive and potent in a 3D Zelda game.
Yeah, but I still like 2D for like different reasons.
Right.
So I have a question relating to Zelda. What are you? What are your opinion? What is your opinion? What are your opinions? On all these remakes that's going on, the Wind Waker remake, the Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask remakes.
I have to say, for the most part, I enjoy them. Like I said, for Majora's Mask at least, that them remaking that gave me a chance to play it in a more modern setting. It's a little bit easier for me now, just because it's like, hey, it's a current system. They changed a few things, updated the graphics and whatnot, so it was a little bit like, this is fresh compared to what I remember, but it's still basically the same game. So I got a chance to play that game.
Yeah.
Wind Waker as well actually was a game that I never truly beat. I played it on the original GameCube. I think I used cheats though for most of it. I ended up like skipping a large portion of the game, and then I actually got the Wind Waker HD bundled with my Wii U, so I was like, I might as well play through it. Played through it, 100% completed it, and I was like, that was incredible. The changes and tweaks that they gave it really worked well. And Ocarina of Time 3D 2 was also, like, even though I played that game so many times, I was like, yeah, I'll give it another shot, and it's just like nostalgia, but injected with a breath of fresh air, because it's like, it's changed enough where it's like, yeah, they advanced some things technologically speaking, but it's like, still, this is the same game that you remember, and it's fun to just go back and play through it again. I think if they continued, remaking games, they could sort of with the Pokemon ones. I think at a certain point they become a little too much, but they do have their place.
I have a certain opinion on these remakes. I am really like extremely okay with the N64 remakes on the 3DS because you can play them anywhere. That was the main thing I was anticipating. I get to play Majora's Mask on the go.
Right.
That was the main thing. Wind Waker, while I am appreciative of the Swift Sail and all those other tweaks, I don't understand why it needed a remake, because, the main reason they made the remake was because they thought it looked good on the Wii U graphics.
Right.
But the graphics on the original looks exactly as good as it did when it first came out.
Yeah.
Because it's cel-shaded, it looks great.
Right.
Still, and it will look great in like 100 years. and like you said, it's becoming to the point where like remakes are all they do now. It's saturated.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard a rumor about a Twilight Princess remake on the Wii U,
Oh, I hope not.
and I love Twilight Princess, but why?
That's akin to the Last of Us PS4 remaster, and it was like that's last generation, guys. Calm down. You know.
Yeah, no, like they remade Okami on the PS4.
Oh, they didn't need to do that. Come on, that's
Yeah.
I mean, at least with the art style, it's timeless. Like you said, cell shaded. You can't really improve on that.
They just wanted to make it HD, and that's like they didn't even change the graphics on the Okami.
Oh wow. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if HD's worth that much, but
Yeah, it's not really. I don't like HD's kind of overrated. Well, I guess one reason why they re-released Okami is because Okami didn't sell too well the first time.
oh,
So I guess they wanted to sell it again.
oh, I wish they'd do that with God Hand, because that's like the last game that Clover Studios made before they got dissolved or whatever. But
Dissolved into the pits of video
yeah,
game
I don't know,
industry.
but they're like ashamed of that game for some reason. I noticed because they have like Marvel vs. Capcom. They have like all the characters from Clover Studios games, but they're missing the main character from God Hand, which is actually a fighting game. And I'm like, I don't get that, you know.
That's retarded.
Like they have the Okami from Okami. They have a wolf goddess in their fighting game, but not the guy with an arm infused with the power of God. I don't get that.
It's just a waste of potential. Also, on the note of remakes, I heard there was a Journey remake
Really?
for the PS4. Yeah,
That
and that's just one remake I'm fully behind, even if it was last generation. Because Journey is fucking amazing.
that is true. Can't even argue that because that game is amazing. What's funny though, actually, I heard something recently. People saying like that Journey was pretentious, and I was like, I'm sorry. I think you need to look up what that word means because Journey is like the farthest thing from pretentious.
It didn't really. How was it pretentious?
That was
It
my
didn't
question.
have a voice.
That was my question. It was like there's no text, there's no words. They're not like trying to shove symbolism in you. It's just you're just a mysterious.
Pretentious would be like droning on a single thing for a long time. That's the only way it could be pretentious, but it didn't. It was a pretty fast-paced game.
Right. It was. I mean, like you say, when I think pretentious, I think like a game that's like so far up its own butt with this kind of. Oh, here we go. When I think pretentious, I think the ending to BioShock Infinite, which I played recently, by the way, and I was like irritated by the ending, and I was like, they're talking so much about all these multiple universes and trying to go way over your head with this science talk, and I'm like, okay, guys, just calm down. But with Journey, there's no talking, there's no text, there's not even like an audible story. There's a story, all right, but they don't shove it at you at all. It's just you're just a mysterious individual on a journey, name drop, and that's all it is. Like that can't really be pretentious because it's not.
Yeah, and it doesn't like focus on something for a half an hour and waste your time.
Right.
You experience it all yourself and go at your own pace.
Mm-hmm. It's like almost simplistic I wouldn't say to a fault, but like it just got that perfect mix of gameplay and like just a touch of symbolism that makes it like really an experience. You can't really put it any other way, I guess.
Yeah.
It was a good game.
A lot of people hate on Journey because they think it's not really a game because you don't fight anything, you just run.
Well,
But
I like when people try to like define for you what a game is. Like, okay, if even visual novels are considered games, like how do you even go about saying it's not a game because you can't fight things? I mean,
if you can experience something, then like I don't know how to explain it, but like video game is an experience. It doesn't have to be a fighter. You don't have to fight anything. You don't have to do that.
Right.
You can just run through a game, and if that's the point of the game, then it's well made.
Right. I mean, you could almost put it as long as it's not like one long cutscene, like you could consider a movie.
Final Fantasy.
Like if you press a button at any point between the beginning and the end of said game, I think you could call it a video game. I mean, it really doesn't take much. If you have
Yeah.
if you have a choice or any form of control or what's the word I'm looking for, interactivity with the medium, I would say, yeah, I'd call that a video game. That's why, like I said, even visual novels, I believe, are correctly categorized as video games. Like, yeah. Sorry.
Have you ever heard of a game called The Stanley Parable?
I do. I have heard of it. It's actually on my waiting list of games on Steam. I was actually thinking about playing it.
Well, it's actually the same case of Journey. It's like a story
Okay.
instead of like, actually fighting or anything like that.
Yeah. And sometimes those can be like the best kind of games, as much as people want to think otherwise. I think in terms of experiences or just like, presentation, games like that with often minimal interactivity in them can be like the most powerful examples.
Yeah, exactly. You don't really need much for a video game.
It's really one of those, kind of like how things you could consider movies. I mean, it doesn't have to be necessarily from Hollywood. It could be indie projects, whatever. But the guidelines for considering it as such is actually kind of pretty flexible.
Nowadays, I tend to stay away from Hollywood movies anyway.
not always a bad idea these days.
Well, I mean, I still like good Hollywood movies, but right now, like in the past few years, it's been saturated with crap.
Oh yeah, just like you said with video games, if it's not remakes in video games, it's reboots in movies and things like that.
Yep. Fucking like Ghostbusters 3 reboot, Indiana Jones reboot, and I heard of a Goonies reboot. All happening.
Yeah, people keep saying Hollywood is out of ideas. I don't think you can ever truly be out of ideas, but I don't think they're trying very hard lately.
They may not be, whether or not they're out of ideas, they're definitely not trying.
Right. Because
why don't they fucking fund a good Zelda movie? That's what I want to know.
Because that would be successful, and apparently that's not what they want these days.
They want Michael Bay and explosions and boobs, and that's all they want.
Oh yeah, and I mean that's easy because people will always go to see that. As proven with Transformers and all the sequels. Even if people know it's stupid, they're like, well, we gotta go see it because there's not much else, and then they go, and it's just like, there we go. But by then he's got your money, and so that's all it takes.
Yeah, I'm really sick of people supporting fucking Michael Bay. It's not funny.
He'll get dethroned eventually. Eventually, though, someone even less innovative and intelligent will come along, and it'll be an easier watch for people who don't like to think during movies, and they'll flock to that instead, and the cycle will continue. But anyway, moving on from
like one day he'll make Transformers 17, and everyone's gonna be like, you know what? Maybe he's not a good director.
Yeah, at that point, it'll take him that long. It's like, 17. I don't know. I'm starting to get tired of this formula. Oh, I had a question for you.
Alright.
In terms of Zelda, what is like your favorite items or tools, weapons, etc. from Zelda games?
Oh jeez. Oh jeez.
Is that tough?
Oh jeez. I don't like besides the Master Sword.
Yeah, I would.
Yes.
I would say like exclude swords from it and be like just the miscellaneous items and stuff, like
Yeah.
including bottles, I guess, because those are awesome.
I'll exclude masks too.
Sure, yeah, just because they're not in most other Zelda games, and a lot of the games share similar items.
Okay, one recent item I had a lot of fun with, the Sand Wand, I think it was called, in Link Between Worlds. That was fucking fun to play around with.
Oh, really? Because I was kind of thinking of the same one, but I didn't play A Link Between Worlds yet. But I was thinking of the one from either Phantom.
The Spirit Tracks?
Yeah, it was either Spirit. I think you're right. I think it's Spirit Tracks. That, despite I didn't really have a ton of fun with that game, but like that was one thing that I actually did like, just because you raise up all those blocks with sand and then you manipulate it and move objects around with that. That was one of the.
Yeah, that was a clever one.
Yeah, that was one of the few things from that game I really actually liked.
Well, the DS games are like some of the weakest stuff. I think they're okay, but Zelda standards are way too high.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, and not necessarily just because of like the smaller memory space, the less game they can fit into it, but just because it's like I don't know. Most Zeldas usually come up with some kind of new shtick to it that kind of sets it apart from the rest, I want to say. And like I said, I haven't played Link Between Worlds, so I can't really comment on that one too much. But like Wind Waker had the sailing, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask had the time travel concept.
I'll let you in on Link Between Worlds. The shtick is the going on walls, like becoming flat, and there's a lot of cool puzzles using that.
Okay.
It's really fun. There's a lot of people are skeptical because the map is the exact same from A Link to the Past, like the overworld map.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
But that wasn't like too distracting or bad at all. The temples were different. Also, you can get all the items in the game right away given enough rupees, because you rent them and you eventually buy them.
Oh, I did hear something about that. Yeah, like like you said, you pay for them as opposed to like unlocking them, which I found to be odd, but I don't know.
Well, I like it a lot, and the reason why is you can go into any temple at any point of the game anytime you want, and like in any order, and you can just get like any item you want that you think would help you.
Yeah, that part of it I find really interesting. Actually, I wonder if that's sort of like a little bit of a not necessarily precursor, but like sort of maybe a jumping off point for like the upcoming Zelda game where it's going to be open world. So like maybe you truly can stumble into a dungeon and actually be like underprepared,
Yeah, that would be interesting.
At least I'm hoping that's the case, because in a weird way I do sort of kind of want that, where it sort of has that Skyrim feel where you're like, what's in that dungeon? Let's go see. Maybe it's something that will beat the tar out of me, and then I'll have to run away and grab some gear before I can return and complete it.
Well, it's just like a RPG. You can be under level.
Right.
And it's sort of that, like, it's just a little bit that way with some Zelda games. You can find mini dungeons out there and not have the correct equipment.
Yeah. In terms of Zelda items, for me, another one that I really loved is, I don't know why necessarily, because it oftentimes the times where it's actually useful can be limited, but I really love the hook shot or the claw shot, whichever version.
Yeah, it's a fan favorite.
I don't know what it is. There's just something so satisfying about it. Like, I don't know, you yank yourself over to this location or you pull enemies toward you. It's just, it feels great.
You know what? I just thought of something. With the exclusion of masks, I think Twilight Princess had the best items in any Zelda game.
Oh.
Because you had the double claw shot, you had the bomb arrows.
Oh yeah, the bomb arrows.
Which never appeared again for some fucking reason.
I know. Why don't they bring that back?
Yeah, I know. That was the most awesome thing.
Or like even
there was the spinner, which was really underused. They should have used it more.
That
was cool.
I thought the spinner was so much fun. Like even with the, limited places where it really came the most in handy, it was just like it's just fun to hop on that thing and just go for a ride, like you're spinning on a top or something. It was great.
Yeah, I was talking to Nicole about this. I discussed why didn't they make like tracks along the entire land of Hyrule for transportation using that thing?
Oh, that would have been cool. Yeah.
Yeah, like it would be more precise than warping, and you can just like go fast across the whole land.
Yeah, like maybe have it like be super sped up, and then, I mean, it would even like remove the need for like a horse Epona, I guess.
Yeah. Which I never used Epona anyway.
Oh really?
Yeah, like, 'cause it just feels like a drag picking up the straw and blowing into it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I don't really remember entirely how I played Twilight Princess, but I seem to remember spending a lot of time as a wolf and just traveling like that, because I'm like, I got 4 legs, why not?
Honestly, I don't think any Zelda game had great use of Epona. I never really used Epona that much unless I had to. Because in Majora's Mask you can roll as a Goron.
Oh yeah.
Ocarina of Time you just warped most places.
Oh yeah, the warp.
Twilight Princess you just warp most places.
I think, and this may have been just me, but I used Epona a ton in Ocarina of Time. Like, main method of travel, because, that was before you could really warp most places. I mean, they had a couple warp spots once you unlocked songs, but like, traveling across Hyrule Field, roll traveling only gets you so far so fast, and it's like, I don't know, I feel like Hyrule Field was really where Epona was like the most useful, because like you have to cross from, say, Hyrule Castle or the town all the way to like Lake Hylia, which is like completely opposite side of the map. Then it's like, yeah, you'd want Epona then.
Unless you're a speedrunner, in which case you just like walk backwards or something.
Oh yeah, do the backflips.
And the side jumps and the stuff I can't do because I'm not talented enough.
Oh, I don't like. I only seem to remember doing the side hops and the backflips for traveling, and I don't even think it made that big of a difference. I think either way, Epona's like better, but just,
well, there's like a certain trick to it. I think, like, I can't do it myself.
Oh, it must be
go really fast or something.
It must be some kind of like expert technique thing that like I wouldn't get either, because it's sort of like wave dashing in Melee. I think I tried that like twice and I couldn't get it. I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I'm not good enough for this.
At that point, I didn't even care, because it's like, I'm not going to use it, but
have you ever seen someone do a sequence break in Majora's Mask?
What is a sequence break?
Well, they just like skip a huge part of the game. The main method of travel in Majora's Mask is bomb jumping, where they take a bomb and backflip when it explodes while using the shield, and they'll float in the air, and then they can keep doing that and like skip a huge part of the game.
Oh wow. That sounds pretty.
Like they get to Great Bay in the first 10 minutes of the game, and it's just how?
Oh, I see. By like bypassing limitations with where you're not supposed to. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Going back to the bomb arrows, I was around the time that's also one of my favorite items, by the way. But around the time when I saw that, like when they combined the bomb and the bow, I was like, right off the bat, I was thinking like, why don't they do that more in Zelda? Kind of do like a Dead Rising 2 thing where you can like make combinations of items and weapons. It's like, that would be a really cool idea to implement in Zelda. So it's do like a very, very basic crafting mechanic where it's like, oh, you want to combine an arrow or the bow with a bottle, and then maybe you can like shoot fairies out of midair and capture them from afar or something like that. You know.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. I wish they would have done more with that, or at the very least carry over the bomb arrows into future games.
Yeah, Nintendo sure knows how to squander ideas.
Right. It's like they come up with one good thing and they're like, well, that worked. Let's never do it again.
That worked. Let's come up with a finicky thing for the next game.
Yeah, it's just more gimmicks galore, I guess. But what other items were there that I think it probably goes without saying for most people, but like the bottles are like so great in the games. Like it's just the fact that there's so much you can put in them, just so much potential. It's just like, oh, I mean, do I need a bug, a potion, a fairy, whatever you want, just shove it in the bottle and you got it.
Did you ever do that glitch in Ocarina of Time, turning any item into a bottle?
I think I did actually. Yeah, I think I turned the like, what was it? It was like a part of the long trading sequence. It was something to do with the Goron thing. I think I turned that.
Yeah, there's a deed after you're finished.
Yes, yep. I turned that into a bottle, another bottle, I think.
Yeah, so did I, because it's completely worthless.
Right. So it's like, why not? Why not? And you can always use more bottles for anything. It's like the best.
I once turned my entire item screen into bottles. Nothing but bottles.
And you were better off for it, weren't you?
Well, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, I don't know, no one could probably kill you if you have them all filled with fairies, and then it's like, it would take them a long time if even if you're just standing there doing nothing, and they're just like, oh, yes, so many fairies.
Well, the only item you need to kill Ganon besides the sword is the light arrow.
Oh, okay. I was for some reason I was gonna guess the Megaton Hammer. I think because at the point where you lose your sword, it's a good substitute. Like during the final fight with Ganon in Ocarina of Time, I was just like, if I lost, when he loses the sword, I'm like, I'm just gonna go to town on his tail with my hammer and just.
I don't think you need the Megaton Hammer if you have the Bigoron sword.
Right. I think I would usually just resort to the hammer because it didn't really get much use most of the time otherwise. So I was like, yeah, I like the hammer, but I think I like the.
I resort to the hammer because I'm too lazy to do the Bigoron quests most of the time.
Right. It is sort of a pain if you don't feel like doing it, but.
I don't really like the side quests in Ocarina of Time. I think Majora's Mask did a lot better side quests.
Yeah, I would say so. Overall, I think that was it. It sort of felt to me like that's where Majora's Mask excelled. Like, not even the main quest for me. I sort of felt like the side quests were so much fun in that game.
To be honest, I think the side quest was part of the main quest, in my opinion, because that was the chunk of the game right there.
Right, and overall it does kind of intersect because, like, characters you have to interact with in the main storyline end up also being parts of side quests. So it's like you see that character in the part of the main quest, and then you help him out later, and you're like, oh, I know who this guy is,
I have a question for you that just now popped up.
Alright.
Do you have any friends who have not converted to Zeldaism yet?
No, actually. I believe... Well, I mean, it depends on how you're speaking, like IRL friends sort of a thing.
Yeah.
I would say no, that all of my friends are, like, basically in the same boat as me, where they grew up with Zelda, love Zelda, Zelda's great.
You lucky fucking bastard. Do you know how hard it is for me to find Zelda fans?
Is it really?
Jesus. Yeah.
Why?
I've known 50 people who have never heard of Zelda.
Never heard of it, even? How does that work?
Yeah, not even heard of it.
What's wrong with them? I mean, not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but, like, what's wrong with them?
No, there is something wrong with them. They don't know what Zelda is.
How does that...
That's plenty wrong.
How does that happen, even? Like, are they just not super into video games, or, like...
I don't really. I think they're more into, X-Bone games or whatever.
Oh, X-Bone.
Fucking Call of Duty
Oh man,
bullshit.
Call of Warfare and Modern Duty and stuff. So much.
More like Call of Poopy.
Damn poopy. Yeah, that's odd though. Like, you really know that many people, and like none of them are. They need to play Zelda or like look at it or do anything with Zelda, and I'm sure that they'll like eventually catch on that it's awesome.
Yeah, they'll learn the meaning to life.
Even,
Um,
I mean, even like even my members of my family who like don't play video games at all, and probably because of me, like know about Zelda and what it is, you know.
Zelda's the one with the hat, right?
Yeah, so it's like, as some people like to joke around on purpose, they're like, oh yeah, I love playing as Zelda, and then the way he wields the sword is really cool. I'm like, yeah, you know better.
Yeah, you fucking kid. Hannah always knew about Zelda, but she hasn't played it yet. What game should I introduce her to first?
I would say, for me personally, and I'm trying to say this without any sort of like nostalgia favoritism, but I've always felt that Ocarina of Time was like, it's the most sort of classic standard hero story in it. Like,
I know.
it's
Like, I feel the same way. Ocarina of Time represents the series the best.
right. It's just it's got like all the. I don't really want to say like no surprises, but it really is just the most standard. I mean, you start out as a little boy in the forest, then you find out you got a great destiny. There's this big bad dude who knocks you on your butt, and then he's like chasing after the princess, and you got to go save the princess, and then you.
Yeah, and you learn the origin story in the game too.
Right. So it's like it just feels like, for me, that it's the best one to introduce people to. But if not that one, my second choice will always be Wind Waker, which I'm just like, I don't know, it feels like it's pretty accessible for people. It's got.
Well, for me, it's pretty much almost all of the 3D Zeldas to introduce her to, because first off, you got Ocarina of Time, which represents the entire series. And Wind Waker, which is like a bit easier. It's cartoony, which is awesome, and it's got humor.
Right.
There's Twilight Princess, because it's just, I don't know, it's more of an updated, I guess.
Yeah. And like, I don't.
It's got the same case as Ocarina of Time. And also, knowing Hannah, she loves dark things, so Majora's Mask too.
I would say start her off with either Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask, and if she likes more, be like, hey, Wind Waker, or I don't know what other games you have. Even I haven't even played like the Minish Cap, but just the art style alone. Like, if people like that from Wind Waker, be like, yeah, go crazy with that.
I have all of the Zelda games. I could
All?
shove them all down her throat.
All the Zelda games, like.
Well, I used to have the DS ones, but I no longer have the DS ones.
I don't think you'll be too sad about it though, because.
Yeah, I'll play them again eventually, but I'm not in a hurry. I also don't have the Oracle games, which I miss.
Those are the ones I was going to ask you about, because those are also ones I never got to play. So I've actually got like, I'm pretty half when it comes to Zelda. I feel bad about it, but there's like half.
You can just download the Oracle games on your 3DS, I think.
Yeah, I did see that. I wasn't sure how much I cared about that currently, but someday I do want to get around to at least playing some of every Zelda game, because it's just such a milestone in my life for video games.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know. I don't remember if I told you this or not, but like when I played Ocarina of Time, I was young enough to the point where like the giant Skulltulas in Forest Temple like freaked me out. And it was like, I don't know, not bad enough where it's like I hate this game, but like thrilling enough where it's like, this is an adventure. I can actually die. This is awesome, sort of a feeling.
Yeah. I was always scared by everything in Zelda at first.
It's I mean, and especially with the N64 titles, because I don't know what it is back then. What were they originally rated? Were they E on N64? Cause
yeah, rated E.
Yeah, because they dropped the ball on that one. Like with especially with the Shadow Temple in Ocarina of Time. And you got all those like arms sticking out of the ground. And then you got the thing with the.
I know, right?
That was the point where I was like, okay, I don't know if I should be playing this, and I played it anyway.
And Majora's Mask with that giant fucking moon's face, that was terrifying to any kid.
I know, that's not like I'd like to take like a picture of both of those examples and then just slap like E for everyone on it.
Like, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, N64 graphics seem to be scarier than most realistic graphics.
Honestly, yeah, I don't know if it was like the ratings were more lenient back then, but like they kind of got away with a lot in terms of at least just speaking for Zelda. It was like, wow, how did you guys even rate that E?
Yeah, it's fucking terrifying. You scarred so many kids, Nintendo.
And then like
I believe when they re-released the N64 games, they got a T for teen rating.
yeah, they did update some of those, didn't they?
Wait, I got the case of Majora's Mask right here.
Okay.
3D. E10 plus.
Oh, yes, they did bump it up even a little bit.
Just a tad bit though.
But still,
I don't think that's enough, man.
I don't know. I wouldn't know what to tell you. Like, I know, I kind of remember my experiences with it, but I don't. I mean, if I were to have a little kid come up to me and be like, "Oh, should I play this?" I'd be like, "I don't know. Do you want to be scarred for life and play the best game ever, or do you want to not experience the best game ever?"
I'd let a kid play it. I mean, all jokes aside, I'd let a kid play it.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what age. If they were like a little on the younger end, I'd be like, start off with Mario, and then we'll ease you into the harder stuff. But well, actually,
oh no, Mario 64 still has some terrifying shit in it.
Oh yeah, the piano.
Yes, that's immediately what everyone thinks of.
That was just terrifying. I mean, well, actually, and this is a weird example, but like, in a weird way, the endless stairway like creeped me out too, because I was like, when I did that, and I thought I was doing something wrong, or I was like, why am I not going anywhere? What's going on here?
Yeah, I can see that.
It was bizarre.
I got all the stars I needed to before going to the endless stairway when I was a kid, so I didn't really like experience any sort of feelings.
Right, you're just like, whatever, I got this, got all the stars, I'm just gonna go beat up Bowser.
Oh, to stars.
Right.
What the fuck was I Shit, like, do you ever have a question and you forget the question?
All the time.
Fuck me. I don't know, I'll just go with a different one. What's the scariest thing in Zelda to you?
Zelda. Trying to think through all the ones that I've played. See, I want to say, I don't think that Ganon was more threatening. I don't think he was actually that scary. I think, for me personally, and this still holds true today, Re-Deads by far are like the most freakiest for me, because it's that feeling when not only the like super scary shriek that they give off, but then Link is completely frozen and you're just helpless as they're walking toward you. It's like, that's the worst thing. Then they get on and they hump you to death. It's terrible.
And then they go on and fuck you without consent, and that's just great.
That's the worst part of it, honestly. That's the part where it's like, okay, bump up the rating, guys, 'cause that's not cool.
The scariest thing for me out of all the Zelda series was the CDI games.
Oh, that's a good choice. I never.
Yeah. In all seriousness though, like what actually scared me was I think that just the Shadow Temple and the Under the Well part in general.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because the music and the atmosphere and all the dialogue you go through.
Right.
And the Dead Hands, of course.
Of course, the Death Hands, or yeah, was that their name? I forget.
Dead Hands.
I'm gonna look it up real quick just to give myself a fresh recall of that.
Yeah, that's like. Did they come up with that with the intention of keeping kids up at night?
Boy, I couldn't tell you what they were thinking. I mean, they were either like super high or like, yeah, this is probably good for kids. Let's just throw that in there. Why not?
Like, sometimes Zelda like creeps me out more than any Resident Evil game.
I don't think I've played any Resident Evil game, but I mean, from what I've seen, I can kind of believe that. Like, not only just because of like the age that you and I were upon playing it for the first time, but just like, this is Zelda, this is supposed to be fun and happy and cheery, and there's a thing trying to kill me, and it's gross.
Yeah.
Oh man, what's the... Alright, I got a question for you. What's like some of your favorite locations in the games, whether it be dungeons, overworlds, or, just areas?
Can I list a few?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I know what my ultimate favorite is, but I'll get to that in a bit.
Okay.
I know this is kind of a sore subject for you.
Oh.
I understand, but there are like in Skyward Sword there are islands out in the sky.
Okay.
And they're just fucking gorgeous.
I don't think I experienced any of those, but I take your word for it.
I'll have to show you that because there's like waterfalls and just grass and it's great. I could sleep there, and it's just like those islands are empty. They have nothing to them. They're just pure atmosphere.
Oh yeah.
Shit. I'm trying to think of a Wind Waker one, because Wind Waker had, I think, Dragon Roost Island from Wind Waker.
Oh yeah, Dragon Roost Island.
Great music. And my all-time favorite location in any Zelda game is the moon in Majora's Mask.
Oh, that was very cool.
The part with the tree.
Yeah, that part was very cool. It was like surreal, too.
That was probably the greatest stroke of genius they could have had.
I know, it's like when I did unfortunately know before going into the moon what it was going to look like, but like for someone who doesn't, I can imagine it being like, you're going into the center of this like horrifying mass of pure evil, and it's like, oh, it's nice and shiny, and there's grass, and there's a nice tree there. You did not expect that.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know, it was fucking genius.
It's just, yeah.
How about you? What's your favorites?
I know for one, I'm trying to think of what it was called. Oh, I think it's Hyrule Market. The marketplace, for some reason, I mean, in Ocarina of Time, I just thought it was like the greatest thing. And then not only that, Kakariko Village, partially because of the music, too. It's just really calming there. And Windfall Island from Wind Waker. The atmosphere there is just really cool. It's just like, oh, it's just a happy town. One of the few places where there's not much bad things going on, And then, what was the other one? I had one more in mind. Oh, yeah, the main town in Majora's Mask.
Clock Town.
Yeah, Clock Town. I don't know. I was gonna say Termina Town. Partially, I think just because of nostalgia, because when I did play some of Majora's Mask when I was younger, that was like where I spent almost all of my time, because I was too afraid to venture away from it very far, so I ran around in the town doing a bunch of various things and just exploring it, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time in Clock Town. It's like if I could have any video game town be a real life town, besides the fact that a moon is going to drop on it,
right?
I think I'd pick Clock Town.
It would be cool.
I know it from the back of my hand. It just looks like a well-organized town. I don't know.
Right, but I was just thinking, it would be kind of cool. I bet, because there was a thing. I know that they did in Japan where they recreated the boat from One Piece. I know they did the Going Merry, but I was thinking, like, what would be really cool if they did that for if they like recreated a small town, it made it like modeled it after Clockwork Town, you know, that would be really cool. Like make it the same basic layout, but make it like a mini
I would live there.
Yeah.
I would move there.
Yeah, like make it a tiny little like Disneyland-esque place and have like various shops and things, but like also have locations there. You can walk around and see all the spots where Link went, and then be like, yeah, here's the mayor's office, and here's the giant clock thingy.
Here's the pathway leading to the sewers for some reason.
Yeah, don't go down there; you'll get stabbed.
Don't go down there. There's giant spiders ready to eat you.
Yeah, and then upon entry, maybe every person gets a bomber's notebook, and then they can like write down things in there. It has like a list of all the events. That'd be cool.
And if they jump across a couple ledges, you'll get $100.
Right. Or have a machine where you put in money, and then it gives you like little plastic rupees, and then you use that to pay for things instead of cash. That'd be awesome.
I would fucking live there.
That would be cool, but like the thing is, I don't think, because Majora's Mask, the way you describe it and the way I think the developmental process went, it's a little bit like kind of the black sheep of the family. So
it's becoming less of the black sheep.
That's good to know, but like I think that it wouldn't get enough. Like I don't think it'd get enough attention to be the one game out of the series worthy of like making such a big ordeal. But I would love it.
I think it might be the easiest though.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, more doable than like the more fantastical. Like you can't make Skyloft, you know, really.
Oh fuck no.
It would be kind of cool, but you can't really do that very easily in terms of today's technology, I guess.
Speaking of black sheeps, I think like in the Zelda series currently, the black sheep that deserves the most attention right now is Link's Awakening.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's I think it's my favorite 2D Zelda game. It had a deep and sad plot before Majora's Mask. It's like on Majora's Mask level, really.
Oh, because see, Link's Awakening, that's the one with like the giant egg, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the one where, like I said, I never played through that one, but and spoiler alert, isn't like the whole thing a dream?
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah, that's kind of cool actually.
Well, it's like the game actually makes you feel sad for beating it. Because it's like, you meet this really cool girl and you sort of fall in love with her, but she's part of your dream, you gotta wake up.
Oh, so like everyone kind of like disappears when he wakes up?
Yeah, she's just part of your dream, so you wake up and you're like sad that she's not real.
Oh, but look, I'm reading on the on Zeldapedia, it says, if the game is completed without any deaths, Marin is shown to have been reincarnated as a seagull, as her wish was expressed earlier in the game. That's cool. That's a good thing.
Oh yeah.
Although I don't know how many people would beat it without any deaths. I don't remember how hard it was, but
it's not hard at all, really. It's definitely easier than the first two Zelda games.
I only remember a few things, but like, can you like use a chain chomp as an item, or?
That was, I think, just one part of the game.
Okay, it did not.
It wasn't really an item. You just let it back to its owner, but on the way back, it'll eat enemies.
Oh yeah, that was cool. They gotta do that more. Crossover Mario enemies with the Zelda universe, because like, why not?
Yeah.
It's all pretty cool.
Have you played any of the first two Zelda games?
What is the first one called again? Is it just Legend of Zelda?
Yeah.
I played like a few seconds of it, and I think it was through like the Masterpiece things on like the Smash Bros. Games, you know, where they let you play like a demo. That's really like my only interaction with it, and then I don't think I played any of Zelda 2. So like, yeah, basically the first two ones are completely alien to me.
Well, Do you know what Zelda 2 looks like, at least?
Yes, because like the Angry Video Game Nerds review of it, I was like, that's
Yeah.
from what I've seen there, it's like a 2D side scroller, which is totally different than the other Zelda games. That even if they were 2D, they weren't side scrollers like that one was, which I'm actually a little bit interested in because I'm like, that's different.
Yeah.
That's different.
Like, I have an unpopular opinion. I think that Nintendo should just make a short Zelda game for, like, just online, downloadable online
Yeah.
only, of a 2D side-scrolling Zelda game.
To try it again and see if like more people would like that, or like just as would it be like a fully fleshed out game or just kind of
It's kind of like lighthearted. I'm imagining it being lighthearted, like Four Swords.
or that's another game.
Yeah.
I love that game.
Like, nothing's too serious. It's just sort of a game you play.
Yeah, I'd have to give Zelda 2 a try so I could kind of get a better feel for the game. What?
I don't think I recommend you playing Zelda 2, actually.
Really?
It's great. It's a great game, but it's hardcore NES.
Oh.
Like, it's so hard.
Well, if I were to do it, I would be a cheater and totally use like ROMs, emulators, things, you know.
Yeah.
Because
Use the Power Glove.
it's so bad.
It's so bad.
I don't think I could beat any game with the Power Glove.
No one could get it to work.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, I was gonna mention to this before. Do you watch Dodger on YouTube a lot?
Who?
Dodger or Dex Bonus?
No.
Cause she's like friends with JonTron, but I think I've linked you to some of her videos before. But she has a channel where she does. Oh, press art to continue. That's her channel. But her news, like when she uploads videos and does like little news portions where she like give updates about what's going on. The opening sequence in it is hilarious. I think you'd love it. It's like a parody of Majora's Mask, and it's like a chibi version of her. She's like wearing like a fox like onesie costume, and then she's got the mask, and she's reclining in midair with her arms crossed, and then up above her it zooms out, and instead of a giant moon bearing down on everyone, it's like a giant cute butt. Because she's got an affinity for butts, and then so like instead of the moon being pulled down, it's just a giant butt, and it's great. It's hilarious.
Well, that sounds arousing.
It's not arousing. It's the cutest butt you've ever seen. I think it has a little like kawaii face to it and everything. It's great. You gotta see it.
I'll check it out. Anyway, we're past the hour mark, so I guess that'll be it for now.
Alright, ending it on butts. That sounds good.
Yep, that's the best end note I've ever heard of.
Why not?
So thank you guys for watching, or listening rather, because this is a podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll see you later. Bye.
Sure, see ya.